5 y empezamos.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today to our webinars and regular webinars. And we are delighted and very grateful with the people that we are sharing today the webinar with. We've got today, we're going to speak about family relocation. And it's very important for people to be aware of the ins and outs about moving to Spain, relocating family, and starting probably a new life. It is a pleasure for us to introduce today different people. On one hand, we've got from the institution side, we've got Arantxa Villar from the Costa Blai Tourism Board, and she will introduce later on herself. Hello, Arantxa.
Hello, thank you very much for inviting us today. Thanks.
On the other hand, we've got from King's College Alicante, the British School of Alicante, we've got the head teacher, Mr. Iain Blaikie. He's got a vast experience on international education, and it is a pleasure to have him here. Hello, Iain.
Hello, good afternoon. Nice to see you.
We've got Irene Gomez. She is the head of admissions from King's College Alicante, and it's a pleasure to have her in so she could give us a little bit of tips on what parents should know when relocating children, how they do. She will later on introduce herself. Hello, Irene.
Hi, good afternoon.
On the legal side, we've got Pedro Heredia, international lawyer. He's an expert on the international law, and he will be here later on to comment any questions about probably legalities about moving to Spain. Hello, Pedro.
Hello, Ignacio. Good afternoon.
And then on the other side of Spain, we've got Michael Davies, ex-honorary British consul. He's in Almeria and Andalusia, and it's a pleasure to have him here to give us tips of advice about living in Spain. He moved many years ago. And again, Michael, thank you for joining us. Okay, right. As I said, we're talking today about relocation and family relocation, and we thought it will bring a lot of value to understand why Spain, why Costa Blanca, and how do I do about choosing school. I'm sure later on you might have questions about how to get your NI number, T.I.E, buying a property in Spain, the tax situation, etc., etc. So it's important for everybody to seek independent advice and be in a position where they know the possible scenario. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to Arantxa Villar, who she will explain where is Costa Blanca, why Costa Blanca, and over to you, Arantxa. Thank you.
Thank you, Ignacio. Well, I'm going to share this presentation with you. And I'm going to show you why Costa Blanca is the best place to choose to move in and to live. First, we have to say that Costa Blanca is the name that identifies the province of Alicante, which is one of the most important destinations for tourism nationally and internationally. If I have to talk about some highlights that may be important to you, is that we are located at the Mediterranean Sea, and that's why we have more than 300 days per year with sun and an average temperature of 19 degrees. We are very famous because our beaches and coves, and that's why because we have more than 200 kilometers of coastline, we can offer a wide accommodation, and we are very well connected with the rest of the world. We have, last year, our airport was the 5th airport in Spain, and we received more than 15 million passengers. We had more than 110 connections with the rest of Europe and the world. I also would like to remark that we are the 5th Spanish province regarding the gross domestic product. We have 4 universities and 2 scientific parks international schools. We are also, we have the European headquarters of called 𝐏𝐻𝐽𝐜 that brings a lot of families from the rest of Europe to live here. If you want to practice, for example, golf, you have more than 20 golf courses within 1 hour and a half driving. You can also enjoy with your family our 9 natural parks, 83 museums, and you have also the opportunity to co-work and co-live. And if you choose our destination for health problems or health matters, we have a public hospital and international renowned private medical centers. But to talk about Costa Blanca is to talk about gastronomy, culture, and tradition. Our gastronomy is very well known also internationally. We actually have 16 Michelin stars in 12 different restaurants. You can enjoy and visit more than 16 wineries around the province. We also have 5 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. You can also have a route, make a route with your family and visit 100 castles around and enjoy the festivities. We actually have a lot of festivities in our province, but 9 of them are declared of international tourist interest. But Costa Blanca also is a destination to enjoy our inland villages. They are very charming. We have 26 mountains with more than 1,000 meters. Actually, we are among the 3 more mountainous provinces in Spain. You have great areas to practice mountain sports. And we also have our great inland route, which goes from the north to the south of the province with more than 430 kilometers divided in 20 different stages. And also, this is a paradise for the practice of sport, not only because of our unique natural resources, but also because of our high quality sport facilities. Your kids and yourself can come here and practice almost every discipline. Talking about activities, it is very important to let you know that we have a lot of possibilities for water activities because our water is very warm during the whole year. It gets an average temperature of 19.5 degrees. And you can enjoy our sailing clubs, marine reserves, and it is very important also to remark that we have 73 blue flags. We are actually the first province in Spain. The blue flags means quality, the quality of our beaches. And we are also promoting our kayak route, which have 12 different stages around the whole province. Here now I can share just general information about those countries that are more represented in Costa Blanca, registered residents that we have here. As you can see, the UK is the most important market for us, but we have German people from Netherlands, France, Norway, Sweden. There's specific information about that, but just to let you know, in general. And here in the graphic, you also can see all those markets, all those countries that are represented here because their population, their people buy second properties here, just to spend their holiday time or to, move and live here for a long time. And with this, I hope that you get to know a little bit better Costa Blanca. You have some information also in our social network and our webpage. And now you are going to see a video so you can get a better idea of what I was talking about. Thank you very much.
Maybe because I was born on the Mediterranean, I feel so connected to this sea, to this land, to this light. Because the Costa Blanca is my passion, it's my life, it's who I am. It defines me as a person and sets me apart from the rest. Yes, it's important not to forget who we are and where we come from. That helps us understand the meaning of our lives. By this sea I was born and grew up, laughed and cried too, the emotions of life. Our land is health and well-being, the joy of living, in our own way, in our own style. authentic. That's why so many artists come to the Costa Blanca looking for inspiration, to capture the essence, that light that defines our character. And not just artists. So many people come here and stay. The sky, the landscape, the rosy sunsets, the warm sand under your feet, the sea breeze on your skin, the mountains, and seeing the sea from the heights. I love to close my eyes, take a deep breath, and feel the sun on my eyelids. As if the light was inside me. I can't explain it. As my grandmother used to say, life is full of inexplicable things. You have to live them, feel them. I had to live in other parts of the world to really value what we have here. I have everything I need. My future is here. I've learned to enjoy the little things, the little pleasures in life. And we know a lot about those. There's nothing more authentic than feeling happy in the place where you were born. And however hard I try, I can't explain it in words. Costa Blanca, authentically ours.
Well, thank you very much, Arantxa, for sharing the nice video about moving to Costa Blanca. I think it's great value. And I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate being in their home countries to understand a little bit more what kind of variety we've got in this area. I'm going to pass it over now to Mr. Iain Blaikie. He's a head teacher of King's College Alicante. He will introduce himself and introduce his school and how about choosing school for your children. Over to you, Iain.
Thank you, Ignacio. And now I have to try and explain it in words. I think I'm one of the luckiest head teachers, certainly in Europe, if not in the world, as I'm sitting in my office looking out at the views that were just in that video. And it makes you feel very holiday-like, obviously, looking at those pictures, but we all have to go to work and we have to send our children to school. And we believe that we're very well placed to be able to make the experience a good one for children, because our advice to families is to make sure that you involve your children if you are going to move and relocate, because if they're happy, then of course you will be. And there's a list there on the screen of some of the things that you might want to consider before you're moving. Moving here for me has been a great experience. I've got many, many years working in British schools. And then after that, I went to the high seas of international travel, and I've been to Thailand and I've been to India. And now in Spain, I think I've found the perfect place. The school is excellent. We're a British private international school, and I think the experience for children would be something recognisable to them as we're following the British curriculum. So Kings have been in Spain for over 50 years now, getting the most outstanding results, outstanding inspections. We're providing for children of all ages from early years through to year 13. So they're doing their IGCSEs, their A-levels, and then going to top universities. And they can stay with us throughout their time, throughout their education. So if they join further down the school, they have a seamless transition through all of the years, through the British curriculum and onwards to their examinations and beyond. This school has been established for many years and is one of the favoured locations. We mentioned 𝐜𝐸 there, that is right opposite us here, and many of the parents from there send their children to this school. As I say, it's recognisable. We have a very smart uniform. We have British trained staff. We have the feel and the culture of a British school, but with international extras as well. It's a very broad and balanced curriculum. We have many nationalities in the school. We have 40 nationalities in the school, but we're an English-speaking school, and I think it's good for children to learn to adapt to all that entails, and they develop an international outlook. So I'm very proud to be the head of this school. I think it is the best school I've been in. I've been head of 7 schools now, and this is the place where I feel most happy and indeed Spain and the Costa Blanca, a great area to live in. I love it so much, I've just bought a house here, and we'll talk about that later in terms of relocation. But I would finish before handing over to my colleague Irene by saying that I've been here now over 2 years. When I arrived, I'd not been to Spain before, and I didn't speak any Spanish. I speak some Spanish now, but the process of relocating is not to be underestimated. And I would really urge you to do your homework hard and to listen to some of the advice that you'll hear today, because it does take quite a time to get to the point where everything has been processed and you feel properly settled in and at home. But above all, our job here is to make sure that the children are happy and that they feel settled into their school and that they're happy and thriving and achieving the excellent standards we know we can offer. So I'll hand over to Irene. She's very experienced. She's a superb ambassador for the school, great friend to parents and children, a parent here herself. And I think she has the details that you would want in terms of accessing the school and some of the things that we offer. So I'll hand over to you, Irene.
Thank you, Iain. Okay, good afternoon. There's some advice we will give based on our experience. The first one, or the first two, as you can see, is that it's important to make the children part of the experience. Get them involved, if possible, to visit beforehand so they can see Alicante, they can see the new school. They get involved, they get excited, and they also more eager for the change, and also to ease the fears and anxiety that the change may, they may make them feel. Extremely important is to find a good school. Most families, they look for a school before they even consider to purchase a property. A good school will make a big difference when relocating with children, because if the children are happy, the families are happy. So when looking for a school, it's very important to be informed and to ask the right questions. Each country is different, and even within a school country, the schools have different systems. So you need to ask a lot of questions. I would say it's very important to look for a school that is diverse, that will help your children to fit in and to make friends and socialize fast, which it helps a lot to the transition to the new country and the new home. It's also very important to ask, what's the main language my children are going to be taught in? Is it going to be Spanish, English? Is it going to be the local language? In this case, in Alicante, could be Valenciano. The subjects, all those questions are very important. The curriculum is very important. If the child doesn't speak Spanish, do they have an induction program? Will my child be helped to learn the language? You don't want your children's grades to suffer because of not knowing the language or something like this. So all the programs and the support that the school is going to offer your child are very important. And to apply early. A lot of the schools don't have lots of places. There are high demand, like it happens in our school. And it's very important that you start the process early on. There are some considerations related to where you move in terms of healthcare, staying in touch with the family, and the legal and financial support. I think Iain can give some insight from relocating. So I'm going to let you go over this, Iain.
Yeah, I would just say that I have over 100 colleagues who've gone through the experience that we're discussing today, people who've moved from other countries, come to Alicante. And most people are recommended to sometimes just rent a place first, experience the place, look around. There's a lot of property here and lots of areas to live in, whether you want to live by the sea or further inland in the countryside, whether you want to live near mountains or whatever. And it's worth coming and doing a bit of research first and getting a feel for what suits you and your family best. Children want to know where their friends live, so they're in a location that will be near to them. That's very, very important to them. So you need to get to know where you would fit in socially. We're also at this end of Alicante. We're near to the airport. We're near to the port itself. You get cruise ships coming in here. But it's not what everybody would choose. Some people don't want to live amongst a lot of British expats who might be on that seaside coast. There are retirees here. There are people who like to recreate Little Britain. On the other hand, and I include myself in the second category, I came to Spain to learn about the Spanish and the Spanish language and the Spanish culture, and to experience that. I live further inland in the countryside. But choose the right area according to your needs and the kind of considerations, I would say, from the school, such as distance from school, which will matter to your children so that they are happy. The family aspect is very important to consider. So whatever you do, you would want to come here and immerse yourself in the culture. That's very important. Don't try to recreate wherever it is that you live in Spain, because that would beg the question, why did you come in the first place? So I'm going to ask Irene to say just something about the school itself, so you can meet our school.
Sure. Well, also back to what we spoke about, you know, some families, they rather be with other expats. Some families, they prefer to be immersed with local families. In any case, it's very important that the children embrace the new culture and the language as much as possible. Let it be with support at the school. Let it be surrounded by different nationalities and learning the local language as much as possible. In terms of our school, we're also part of an international education group, Inspire. So we have over 70 schools all throughout the world. And that also is important. Some families, they may think that they're moving permanently to Spain, but some of them it's a short term or a few years. If you're thinking that you're eventually going to move back to your home country or another country, it is very important that transition in terms of schooling. So British schools, you have them all over the world, and you know it's going to be the same curriculum. It's very easy to switch from schools, but it's very important that you consider that as well. When you go to a school, you need to ask, what's the pedagogy they apply? Is it something creative? Is it something hands-on, or is it rote learning? And also look at the pedagogy that really feels close to what you want for your children. Is it a school that promotes tolerance, that they want to include everybody? Where's the policy on bullying, for instance? Very important. In our case, we have a pastoral care provision, and we want to educate the whole child. So it's very important that not only academically, we also nurture those values, and the families, they need to also be aware of the values that the school is going to instill to their students. And lastly, the international access. If you want your children to be able to access and apply to any university around the world, am I going to be able to give that to my child? Is the school going to give that support to be able to do that? And it's very important. For 𝐏𝐸𝐻, we follow a British and English national curriculum. So some of the questions in other schools is, how many hours of English is my child going to receive? The teacher's native? What other languages are being taught in addition to English or Spanish? We follow the British curriculum, but we also have subjects from the Spanish curriculum. So all our children also learn Spanish, the local language Valenciano, the history and geography of Spain, and then we offer French and German as well. In terms of enrollment, we enroll all year round, but some schools in the Spanish system, for instance, they only enroll from March to June. So you have to be aware of the timing in order to apply. And again, in terms of, we have students accepted at some of the best universities around the world. Is my child going to be accepted to those universities? So we offer IGCSEs and A levels, which are internationally recognized and accepted, and that's something important.
And I should say that the Spanish children are incredibly welcoming. They've got fantastic manners, and that has its roots in the Spanish culture being very family-centered. And I think it kind of goes without saying, but I will say that the children here are some of the best children you would encounter in the world. They're lovely, happy children, are very enthusiastic, keen to learn, always join in, and it's a pleasure to come to work with them every day. The system which we've got on the next two slides, you can also see on our website, and you can see how the different ages translate into different sectors throughout the school. So I won't read through all the details of that, but you can see for yourself if you've got a child in a UK year group, how that translates into the Spanish system and the system that we have here. But you will recognise it instantly as a British school with a British system. In addition to the sort of central core curriculum, we've talked a lot about testing and exams and universities and those important things. We do have a broad curriculum as well, which is well balanced with many offers, things like drama and dance. Public speaking is important to us as well, because with that is the confidence that we like to breed in our children, to make sure that when they leave the school, they're decent people, that they can function successfully within society. We also have a very strong computing background in the school. We've got very strong systems which have been put to the test recently when we've been doing online virtual schooling. Thankfully, we're all back in school now safely, but we are resourced and prepared and adapted with things such as 3D cameras and all of the full-time provision of IT that is needed to run the school constantly and consistently throughout whatever conditions prevail. So if you're interested in joining us, I think we'll conclude with some words from Irene just to say about how to inquire or to apply.
Yes, thank you. Anybody who wants more information and they would like to apply, they can do it through the website or just send me an email. The admissions process is quite simple. We require the application form with the school reports, and then we invite the students to do an initial evaluation. Usually it's an interview. We're doing everything now virtually, visits, we have interviews, so we don't require the students to come on site to do it. So it's pretty simple, and we'll be happy to meet and greet anybody who's interested in learning more about 𝐏𝐻𝐬s.
Okay, thank you very much, Iain and Irene. Very interesting, and it's a challenge for a lot of families to learn how to move in and how to enroll into the schools. So I'm sure we could just share later on some questions that from the panel or from the audience that we might have. Now I'm going to pass you on a little bit onto legal. When a family just comes and moves to Spain, as Iain says, we recommend you to seek for legal advice, independent legal advice, or just prevent any possible scenario. So Juanfran is going to share with us a video about moving to Spain, and then I will pass you on to Pedro and Michael. Over to you, Juanfran.
Trust is vital when you're in another country. If you want to buy a home, set up business relationships, or apply for a residence permit, you need to be able to count on the best independent legal aid. Pellicer and Heredia is an international firm of lawyers with over 20 years' experience and one single aim: for you to live at ease in Spain. In order to give you a clear, streamlined, and fast response, we work with a cross-disciplinary team of professionals specializing in the main legal fields: civil law, foreigners' affairs, business law, tax and financial law, and international law. And to ensure that you're kept informed and up to date with everything, we have 6 offices on the Eastern Coast. Whether you're from here or abroad, we will always stand by you and speak your language. Our relationship is based on openness, professionalism, and a commitment to finding legal solutions in your best interests and for your peace of mind. Pellicer and Heredia, international lawyers.
Okay, thank you very much, Juanfran. I will just pass over now to Pedro Heredia, international lawyer. He's got a lot of experience about expat moving to Spain, and probably he could give you a little bit of tips of advice if you're planning to move to Spain. Over to you, Pedro.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Ignacio, for inviting today to this spectacular seminar. I will just make some summaries about what has been said, really, because it's been very, very good, very nice. I've listened to Arantxa that has said in the video, which is perfect. They say that we value where we are once we have traveled around the world. And also Iain says he's been in India and many parts of the world. I personally has been in different parts of the world, living in the United States. I've been in China. I've been in UK studying law. And at the end, I'm from Alicante city. I've been living most of my life here. And of course, I realized that we have a spectacular place where we live in. This is Costa Blanca. Okay, well, my experience, of course, is on legal issues, on legal advice, on legal help to expats that want to have some interest at the end in Spain. For instance, of course, we are talking about right now about relocation. It implicates different issues, different on legal matters, which are at the end is, of course, in order to start in Spain. Immigration, I'm going to apply for a visa if I'm not a European Union citizen. What kind of visa should I apply? If I'm European Union citizen, is to apply residency. If I'm British at this time because of the Brexit, what should I do? Is to apply for residency. How do I get this T.I.E. card? Or what if I apply after the 31st of December? Will I get properly the T.I.E. card? So immigration is a must that needs to be studied, needs to be prevented, and needs to be carefully checked before, of course, making any move. Of course, in order to move into Spain, you need to just to check about the immigration issues. Another thing is, as Iain has also said about, it's better to buy, it's better to rent. Well, it depends. Of course, this is something about property market. I will advise sometimes to buy property in case that someone, of course, have checked a spectacular property that fits into the needs of the family or someone who is retiring. But also to rent also is fantastic. At the end, you get to know the area, get to know the place, the gastronomy, restaurants, and everything. I mean, the services, of course, health, which is also something that needs to be checked, of course, perfectly. Am I going to have access to a health system, public system, or should I apply for private insurance in order to have access to the health system? These are things that needs to be, of course, checked. And everything is linked. At the end, immigration, you get residency. If you get residency, at the end, you need to get a place to live or to buy. And of course, once you apply for residency and you are resident in Spain, it is attracted the rules of the tax office that no one wants and no one likes tax office, but everyone is subject to another tax office in order to declare and pay taxes accordingly in Spain. All your worldwide income will have to be declared in Spain once you are resident. Of course, there are agreements between countries, agreements between Spain and different countries in the world that have a double treaties in order to avoid double taxation. And of course, this needs to be again checked in order to see which is going to be your scenario, which is going to be your situation once you become resident. What kind of taxes would you pay in Spain once you become resident? And as I said, immigration, in order to invest or to rent a property, taxes, access to health system, and also in case that at the end it's not someone who is going to be retired, someone who wants to relocate the business, wants to start business in Spain or relocate, I mean, just to move the business from a different part of the world to Spain, or wants to keep the business in the origin country, but wants to work in Spain. So those things needs to be, of course, checked, studied, and of course, confirmed that is duly understood before moving. These are most of the questions, of course, that we have in our law firm, and I would say mostly every day we have questions, appointments, and video conference with clients that are intending to move to Spain, because now, this is what our feeling, Ignacio and myself, we are receiving many questions because Spain is one of the, at the end probably would be one of the most attractive countries in the world to move. The first one I saw one statistic, it is United Kingdom, and the second one is Spain. So Spain right now is a place, even though we have right now the COVID and all the world, and Spain looks like, but it's not one of the most damaged countries. But of course, life keep going, and Spain is one of the countries which is attracting people in order to move. But before moving, it's recommended to check what about immigration, taxes, and access to health system. This is extremely important, and this is what we do in our law firm. Thank you, Ignacio.
Thank you very much, Pedro. Very interesting presentation. And now I'm going to just pass over to Michael Davies. Michael Davies is an ex-honorary British consul. He's got been probably over 20, or I'm not remembering if he's 25 years in law. He just came from United Kingdom. He could tell you the story. He's been in Spain for many, many years. He gives and provides expert advice to the expat community. And I'm very proud to have him in. He's in Andalusia, Spain. Beautiful place to be as well. Hello, Michael. How are you?
Hello, Ignacio. Yes, I am British. As you can probably tell by my accent. I am a Spanish lawyer. We've been in practice now for 25 years here in the Andalusia area. I know Alicante very well. Amongst other people, I visited Ignacio and Pedro very often for different cases that we have on in that area. Well, what can we say? The subject's so vast, isn't it? We don't handle immigration law in our office, except for golden visas, which we do from the Marbella office. We handle lots of conveyancing and lots of inheritance. And all I can say is from experience is that for young families moving over, it always, in our office, and we've met many families over the last 25 years making the move. My parents did it when I was 3 years old, so they did it, and for them it worked well. We always sort of feel that we should be giving a word of caution to the young families moving out, because we come across many families that don't actually come with an expertise that's sellable in Spain as far as work is concerned, and they don't really have enough money to fund themselves for 2 or 3 years, which I think is a minimum if you come over here with young kids. So that's just a word of caution, because the property market in Spain at the moment is very, very difficult. And we are seeing families moving over from the UK, a lot of them trying to move very quickly at the moment, because in England the situation is not very good. So they come over here, and we sort of almost feel sorry for some of them, because what are they going to do? They're going to open a bar, they're going to there, they've got 2 young kids. I can almost see my parents moving over here 25 years ago. 47 years ago. And for them, I say it worked, but the truth of the market is that the labor market in Spain is very bad. So unless you've got some money ready to hold it out for 2 or 3 years, or you've got an expertise that it really is sellable in Spain, I think they should be very cautious about moving over with young kids at the moment, with all the things that are going on. That's really the only thing that I can provide, because we don't handle immigration law in our office. We talk about the conveyancing market, the probate, but not the immigration. Don't know if that's a pessimistic view. It's just that what we're seeing in the office the last couple of months is making us a little bit nervous. The amount of people that are just coming straight over, and there are many people doing it now, all rushing out to get their residencias in time for Brexit, and we just feel that some of them are not well prepared.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael. I'm sure that you've been very busy lately, especially because of Brexit, as you said, moving in. How's everything in the south part of Spain, in Andalusia? Is it still booming in Marbella area? Because I heard you're busy. Is it still a lot of people jumping on now recently?
Well, in our office, I can only describe it at the moment as manic. In other words, the whole thing is going crazy. We've got lots and lots of clients that are selling up because they're of older age and they're just worried about what's going to happen with Brexit, etc. So they're selling up. We've got lots of investors coming in and buying properties. So there's just lots of movement in every direction. As far as from what we can see, the actual prices have not gone down yet substantially, except for the odd sort of situation. But the feeling is that the prices may go down in the next couple of months, but we haven't seen it yet. We're still seeing very similar prices previous to, as before the COVID. So we don't really know what's going to happen. That's the truth. It's just everything is just sort of uncertainty at the moment regarding the property market.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. I will pass you now over to Arantxa to give us a little bit of tips about what she will recommend to the families for those who are around the world, because obviously there are many international clients that are delighted to come for business, for restarting, relocating. What kind of tips from the tourism board would you recommend, Arantxa? Over to you.
Well, as I was doing or showing in my presentation, there are many things that you have here. I mean, it is a nice place to live because it is, for example, all the villages, all the cities are not far away from each other, so you can move around the whole province quite quickly and fast. And there is a very different landscape if you go inland and if you are in the coast area. And you have all the services. You have nice restaurants, you have good schools, we have very good medical centers. We have everything that you need to enjoy your life here. We are very famous when we go around the world and we talk about the province of Alicante, Costa Blanca. They always are envious to us in a good way because we have a very good temperature during the whole year. We have warm winters, they are not very hard, and you can enjoy life. You know, we are in general in Spain, we are very famous because we know how to enjoy our life, and it's true. I mean, you can work many hours, but after that you can go and enjoy with your friends a nice lunch. For us, you know, we are very famous also because our Mediterranean diet, you know, it is a way of living for us, all the time that we spend with our friends, with our family. And that's, I think those are the kind of things that for foreign people, and depending on the country, if they are coming from the north of Europe, they enjoy the most, you know, the light that we have here in the Mediterranean. And well, I think that I invite people to come here probably for a short holiday. They can move around, they can enjoy those days, and I'm sure that they will want to come back soon.
Thank you, Arantxa. I'm sure you discussed in the past, there is a lot of students that love sports and they've got opportunities. Is it something you're familiar with from the tourism board? Are you organizing these things for students coming over, or is it something of your past experience dealing with children from an international point of view?
Well, what we do, focusing in these kind of topics, we organize what we call fun trips or press trips. We bring people like tour operators, agencies, clubs, or another kind of companies, private companies that are interested, for example, in this case, if we are talking about sports, to bring, for example, students for summertime or spring break, to enjoy here for a campus. So because, you know, they can do, I don't know, for example, they come here for a football campus and then they can mix it with other activities. Our possibilities regarding water activities are very wide and they like that very much. And that's what we do. I mean, we don't bring those young people ourselves, but we do it through our promotion in different fairs or with this kind of organized trips. And actually, for example, next week, we have a webinar with tour operators and agencies all over Europe to show our sport facilities. and also to sport clubs around Europe.
Thank you very much, Arantxa. Very interesting. I will pass over now to Iain and Irene. What kind of tips they will recommend now for somebody moving? How will you help? Be your help? What will you recommend them to start doing, Iain?
Well, beyond the school gate, I'd start there just by saying that for all of the fantastic things that the area has to offer, the food is fantastic, the wine is amazing, the countryside's great, the sunshine's lovely, all of those things. But there comes the day, and it's fairly early on, when there's a bit of a reality check, when you find yourself in a queue, in an office, faced with somebody who only speaks Spanish, and they speak it fast and they speak it loud, and they're quite impatient because there's people behind you in the queue, and they want you to give them details about why you want a T.I.E card, or can you give them details of your tax, or first of all you need your padrón, your residency. It's not an easy thing to get, and it's quite a cold shock when you find that you're on your own and you've got limited language, and next week you've got the driving license. Oh, and there's the bank account as well. Oh, and there's the health card, there's the SIP card that you need in order to access health. All of those things bring you down to earth fairly quickly. But my advice is to seek some legal help, seek some assistance. I'm fortunate in that I'm part of a school community and other people have been through the process and people can advise you. But you are, to a certain extent, on your own. And having legal support, people such as yourselves, supporting and helping and advising makes that process all the easier. And it is something that, in a sense, if you're busy and in your profession, you haven't got the time sometimes, or the brain space, the head space to be able to deal with some of those things, but you absolutely need to get them. They are critical things. As I said earlier, it's taken me the best part of 2 years to get there, and that's with legal help. So that is really important, and that's for a family. Those are quite big issues. Within the school, obviously, we share some of the experience with parents, and we give them our advice as well. We tell them about the kinds of things that are going to be on offer, the choices that they have within the school, what the curriculum is going to be like. We talk people through the whole process of the induction into the school, that we will give people support with their language, because it's very important for children to be able to grasp the Spanish quickly, because although we're an English-speaking school, beyond school, they need to be able to learn the language. What is amazing is the speed at which children learn it. For example, our head of primary has 2 daughters, and her 2 daughters came here without any Spanish within 2 years. They're pretty much bilingual, which is a great thing to have, not just for school and being in Spain, just for life. And children, particularly the young ones, they absorb the language very, very quickly. So we give them access to that. And we actually also offer some lessons to, some experiences to parents at the weekends as well. I'm saying at the weekends, under normal circumstances, we will give people some support with that as well. So we try to look at the whole family, the whole person, in addition to the main curriculum, which wraparound of support. But really, out there, we, like anybody else, have to go to some of these quite densely bureaucratic places and go through the processes of form filling, of having discussions about some fairly deep and knotty topics, which I can only say are helped immeasurably by having some help from third parties, other people such as yourselves.
Thank you very much, Iain. And now over to Irene. Irene, what kind of recommendations you will do to those who are watching from a different country? They would like to make the move. There is a lot of people teleworking, what we call it here. They prefer to move on. You are the head of admissions. What would you recommend, especially because I know it's difficult, different ages, probably your children will join the international school, university in the future. What kind of tips you will give to these families, those families who are listening today to us? Over to you, Irene.
When most families, when they come to see me or when we talk over virtually now. They will ask about the questions that we went over in terms of how my children are going to be able to adapt, what kind of languages do they need or are they going to learn. They often ask me about areas. They'll ask, where do most of your students live? You know, they want to be able to make friends and socialize. They ask about sports, they ask about clubs, different opportunities as well. I always try to help beyond the school. So some of the children, they'll have a specific interest. Maybe they're good swimmers or they love playing tennis, and we have great academies here in Alicante. Those are the kind of questions they ask, and there's so much to be offered in Alicante. I usually point out that we're only 2 hours away from Madrid via AVE. We have an excellent airport. I'm very biased with Alicante. I lived overseas for 20 years and I always wanted to come back. So when I watched the video, I felt that it was true. It's a really nice area to live, and most children, if they have an opportunity to actually visit Alicante before they move, they get excited. The school is a great place to make friends fast and soon, because we have so many nationalities, and even our Spanish parents are very internationally career-oriented. It's very easy for the new families to make friends, to meet other families and get together and you know, just get really into the culture and the city. So that's very important. Enrollment is very important as well. What I ask, we enroll all year long, but the truth of the matter is that most families will need to apply early on for especially private schools like ours, that we have very limited places available for certain year groups. And then considering the other schools, especially the Spanish system, they have only a few months a year that they actually enroll. Sometimes when they don't know that, if you come midway through the school year, it can be difficult, but we're happy because we enroll all year long. So we are able to welcome students at any time.
We have buddying systems, Ignacio, so that children are paired up with children who are already in the school, who look after them and look out for them. And of course, many of the children themselves here have come in mid-year or from another school, and so they've been through the experience, and they themselves can be the best support, sometimes better than the adults, because they understand the experience that new students are going through. So we're very keen to make sure that that induction goes smoothly and people fit in very, very quickly. Also, as I mentioned, with it being a familiar kind of feel to it, we do offer extracurricular activities. Normally we would be offering trips when people are able to travel, and there are things like Duke of Edinburgh, work experience further up the school and so on. So it feels very similar to the kind of school that you might have left behind in the UK, for example. One thing I didn't mention there amongst my list of things that I look for support for on a personal note was the house buying, which I've now done because I've decided this is where I want to live the rest of my days. And I would just say to people, study it carefully. I think as Michael was saying, it's a minefield there. And personally, I went through a couple of experiences which I wouldn't wish to inflict on anybody, because there's all sorts of paperwork and bureaucracy around it. When it's done properly, when it's done thoroughly, it's a good experience and it feels very, very secure. But there are all kinds of things that you need to learn about. So I think I would say, as Michael said, tread carefully, get good advice, get good experience, professional advice, because it makes a huge difference, because you don't want to find yourself say in that minefield, having parted with money or signed contracts and things that you don't fully understand. Get yourself as much support as possible.
Thank you very much, Iain. Now, Pedro, what would you recommend? We're running out of time. It's a very, very exciting topic, Pedro. But in a few minutes, what would you recommend for those families who are relocating themselves? Over to you, Pedro.
Okay, well, just linking what has been said by Iain, of course, I will recommend you to get advice, get help on legal basis, on as I said before, on immigration, or if you are buying or renting a property, get some legal help. And for tax purposes, it's extremely important. It's linked to residency once you become resident in Spain. If you're gonna relocate your business, at the end is just to get proper advice, instruct a law firm in order to have everything by the book. It's extremely important that in order to have a good experience and at the end to follow the process in order to relocate correctly on legal terms, legal things in Spain, it's extremely important that you get a proper advice and will avoid any kind of problems in order to, at the end, to enjoy life, enjoy the sun, enjoy the gastronomy, as it's been said, and enjoy Costa Blanca. This is my advice, really. Of course, there are many things. It's vast information on legal things, of course, about taxes, of course, about, for example, inheritance, taxes. There are many things that, of course, during the process, it will arise some other things that are needed to be done. But of course, if things are done by the book, everything will be perfect and will be done correctly, and you will avoid any problem that may arise. Thank you, Ignacio.
Thank you very much, Pedro. And Michael, I know you've been through the process now with children. You've got an experience recently about joining the university. I'm sure you've been thinking about all these things carefully. What kind of advice will you, as last, because we're running out of time, will you tell to those families who are moving or just thinking about choosing school, choosing a university? What will you recommend, Michael?
Well, my parents moved out to Spain 47 years ago. I went through a normal Spanish school. My kids have all gone to private Spanish schools. And now the eldest one this year started at Loyola University, which is an American university. She's studying law in Seville. So we're all very happy. It's all worked out very well for us. So I just think people need to do their homework. I think Spain's a fantastic place. I'd never move away. Like Pedro, I've also lived in the States. I also went back to London for work as a lawyer there for a year when I finished my degree. And I wouldn't change any of those places for Spain. I mean, I think Spain's a fantastic place to live. Alicante is a great place. Down here on the Costa del Sol is a fantastic place as well. Just need to do their homework. Regarding the purchase of property, which is one of the sort of concerns, one of the things that causes concerns, people can rest assured that in Spain, you can buy a property with 100% safety. You just need to find a good lawyer at the beginning when they start off to do the work for them. And I always recommend that, well, in Alicante, I definitely recommend Pellicer Heredia. In Andalucía, you'd have us, Davies Abogados. But if you're anywhere else, or you want to see what other options, you just go to the British Consulate website. The British Consulate website has got a list of recommended lawyers for almost every area of Spain. And most of the lawyers on those lists are lawyers that have been in practice for a long time and are reputable people. In fact, I know most of them, and they're all very good. So that's it from me.
Well, thank you very much, Michael. Thank you very much. Now, Juanfran is going to share a video about Spain. And cuando quieras, Juanfran, over to you.
You can't stop thinking about it. That hidden cove, just for you. That little hideaway in the mountains. Or that beautiful postcard town. Dreaming about enjoying the fresh air again. Feeling the sun on your skin. Exploring. Walking. Traveler, there is no path. Paths are made by walking. Never stop dreaming. Spain will wait.
Well, thank you very much, Juanfran, for that, sharing that. Thank you to Arantxa. Arantxa, it's been a pleasure to give tips of advice for all those families who come over here. Thank you to Iain and Irene for giving so much information for those families as well, that really probably they are with a lot of questions and they could really contact you direct. Thank you, Pedro and Michael, for your expertise over the many years that we've been together. They're great lawyers. They help a lot of people. And to be honest, I'm very happy to share this time with them. As last, I will say that thank you to King's College as well, not only for their presentation, which was great. It's just, I could just witness that is an excellent school. I could say my children went there. They go early in the morning, they smile. And it's thanks to people like you that you make it happening. So thank you very much to all of you. And I hope all these families who are thinking over to come to Spain will share the same experience all of us in the panel we had. So thank you for your time today, and see you all on our next webinar. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.